Hi, I'm Peter Kellner, and you may recognize me as the organizer of the past 15 years of Silicon Valley Code Camp. Over those 15 years, we've had close to 1,000 sessions and over 20,000 attendees. Today, we're going to be talking about ChatGPT, and we've got 4 really good speakers, all volunteers like always, to teach you something about it. You may notice that I'm not actually in Silicon Valley anymore. Tammy and I have mostly moved to Borrego Springs, which is a small desert community outside San Diego. But don't worry, the infrastructure here is just as good as Silicon Valley. Let me give you a tour and show you what I mean.
Let's start our tour on the inside. We have 2 data control centers. What you're looking at is the main command center that includes a broadcast studio, a primary and backup OBS streaming server to ensure full streaming redundancy in case one goes offline. We also have a second data control center, which is where our moderator sits. We've got a state-of-the-art network center that includes dual internet backbone support and a load-balanced router with firewall capabilities. To ensure data integrity, we employ a sophisticated RAID array of SSD hard disks, and for short-term stability, we have multiple heavy-duty batteries to keep things up all the time. In case our needs are longer, we have 3 weeks worth of propane to keep our generator going, and at the moment, we are at 50% fuel capacity. Moving on now, let's talk about the ChatGPT conference itself. Our format for the day is that we have 4 shortish sessions, all about 25 minutes, with each followed by a 10-minute or so Q&A. The way we've chosen to handle the Q&A is that we want you to post your questions in the YouTube chat window next to the screen. We immediately pick up those questions, and when the session concludes, either Tammy Baker or Glenn Block, our moderators, will ask your questions to the speaker on your behalf. Remember that in order to utilize YouTube chat, you must be logged in to YouTube with your Gmail for at least 1 minute. Now for our speakers, in reverse order. Junling, who will be the last speaker, and her session will be at 11:25, titled The Science Behind ChatGPT. Before that, Carson will build a mini version of ChatGPT, starting at 10:45. Then, going back one, is Jerry Nixon, talking about generative AI in education at 10:05. And now, the next session is going to be Glenn Block presenting ChatGPT, It Will Blow Your Mind. By way of a heads up, the first 2 sessions are really just explaining ChatGPT and talking about it in a more general sense, with some good examples along the way. The last 2 sessions get pretty technical, so make sure you have your CodeCamp t-shirt on when you watch those. If you ever want to go back and watch any of these sessions, they will all be on our YouTube channel uploaded in 4K. You can always find that by going to the Silicon Valley Code Camp website, clicking on the YouTube icon, and then make sure you subscribe to it. As will be the case before each session, whoever happens to be speaking, normally it will be Tammy or Glenn as moderators, will introduce the next speaker. However, as I'm speaking now, I get to introduce Glenn. I've known Glenn Block for what seems like forever. I met him when he was a senior guy on the Microsoft ASP.NET team, and one thing I can absolutely tell you about Glenn is that whatever he does, he is 100% passionate and 1,000% engaged. As an example of Glenn's dedication to his passion, I know 5 years ago, against what seems like best judgment, Glenn took up rock climbing. Now his goal is to sleep on a rock face someplace. Go figure. I love Glenn, and I couldn't be more excited to introduce him now. Let's dive in.